Hey guys, so today is the very first day for your pre-algebra notes. So this would be for cohort B and cohort V, since cohort A is in class right now. In order to solve equations and work with equations, we need to learn the vocab and some basic skills. So these skills you should have learned in Math 7, but we're just going to go over them just in case you might have forgotten. The first thing is you'll hear me say expression and equation. So the difference between expression and equation is just that an equation has an equal sign. So an example of an expression might be something like 2x plus 3y minus 7. Okay, notice that there is no equal sign. Whereas an equation has an equal sign. So you might have something like this. 2x plus 3 equals 7. That's the only difference. Both an expression and an equation contain what are called terms. Terms are just what is being added or subtracted. I'm going to abbreviate a lot just to help this move along. But if you have questions, let me know. So it's what's being added and subtracted. Remember, with this, I'm going to go quicker for these videos so they're not forever long, but you guys can stop, you can replay, you can do it at your own pace. Okay, so when you're talking about a term, you always take the sign in front. So what I'm going to show you is this. If you think back to Math 7, if you had 3 plus a negative 7, you get -4, right? 3 plus a -7 is the same as saying 3 minus 7, which is -4. So when you're looking at this 3 is positive. When you're looking at this 7 is negative. When you're looking here, it's the same exact thing. This 3 is positive, but this 7 is negative. Subtraction is just another way of adding a negative. So when you're naming the terms, you always take the sign in front, and that's what this says down here. So if I wanted to name my terms here, your terms would be 2x, they would be 3y, and -7. You take that negative. The variable is just the letter in each term, and they represent a variable. So if you go back to this example, you see the variables x and the variable y. Coefficient is another term we'll talk about, especially when we talk about combining like terms. So your coefficient is the number in front of the variable. So if you look at our 3 terms up here, 2x, 3y, and -7, our coefficients would be 2, 3, and that's it. This -7 does not have a letter, a variable behind it, so it's not considered a coefficient. What that -7 is considered to be is a constant, and a constant is a number that stands alone. It's constant. It's never going to change. So again, you always take that sign in front. So what I would do now is pause this and try the first example and then play it and see how you did. So I'm going to keep going. So for this first one, it's asking what are our terms. So if you look at the terms, we have 17x. We have this 2, but we have a minus sign in front. So remember, that's considered a -2. We have 8y. We have -16. And then we have -x, so always take that sign in front. Same thing with coefficients. We have this 17, no variable. We have a variable here, so we have 8. Now, this one's tricky. Everyone forgets about this. This is -x. If there's nothing in front, it's considered a 1. So if it's -x, it's -1x, so your coefficient is -1. Everyone always messes that one up. And then your constants. I can't get it all in view here, but your constants are the numbers that stand alone, -2 and -16. Okay? So now that we talked about the parts of expressions and equations, we're going to look at like terms. If two terms are like, or more than two, they have two things in common. The very first thing they have to have the same variable. They both have to be both x's or both y's or both w's or both x squares, but they have to have the same exact variable. But they also have to have the same exponent. If you have an x squared and an x, they are not like terms because they don't have the same exponent. So an example might be 2x and 7x. We could say maybe -y squared and 4y squared. Same variables, okay? X to the third, 2x to the third, same variable, same exponent. Same variable, same exponent. So sometimes I like to give examples of things that are not. So I'm going to draw this big circle here with a no, okay? So some examples might be like 2x and 7x squared. These are not like terms because you have an x and an x squared. Or maybe x and y, not like terms, they're not the same variable. 7 and x, because 7 doesn't have a variable and x does. So these are all examples of not like terms. So if you want to write a big no like that, okay? All right, and then moving on to the second page. So the second page is how to combine like terms. So to combine like terms, all you do is you add or subtract the coefficients, the numbers in front. Notice the variables stay the same. You basically just bring those variables down. Okay, so the next part, if you have different color pens, which I only have 2 different here, it might help you. So you have to look for the like terms. So for here, if you don't have different color pens, you can underline one, circle the other, it doesn't matter. So I have 3x and a positive 7x. You take that sign in front. So 3 plus 7 is 10. The x, the variable, stays the same. Okay, if you have a different color, this might help you. And you have a -8, and then a positive 7. So -8 plus 7 gives you -1. So that's your final answer. We cannot combine 10x and -1 because 10 has an x and 1 does not. Same thing here. These are all the same x squared, so we can combine them all. Remember, there's nothing here, so this is a -1. We have a coefficient of 3 and a coefficient of -4. -1 plus 3 is 2. 2 minus 4, -2. Bring the variable down. You'll notice number 3 has an x and a y. Therefore, you cannot combine them. They are simplified. And then the next one has a couple different things. You have y to the third plus 2y squared plus y squared minus y to the third. So these two go together. And then these two here go together. So you have y to the third minus y to the third. So it's something minus the same exact thing. So if this was a 5 and this was a -5, you guys know you would get 0. So y to the third minus y to the third is just 0. That cancels out. 2y squared plus 1y squared would be 3y squared. You have that indivisible 1 there. All right, we're almost done. All right, distributive property. Distributive property is when you take whatever is outside the parentheses and you multiply it through. 2 times x, 2 times 7. So you would get 2x plus 14. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times, remember we take the sign in front. 3 times -6 is a -18. okay? If you wrote it like this, I'm not sure if Math 7 you ever moved out of that. We don't want to do this anymore. Instead of plus minus, you just want to make it a minus. The reason is this. If I said to you 3x plus a positive 18, do you ever write it like that? We never write plus a positive, right? So we don't want to write plus a negative. It's just minus, okay? And then here you have negative 4y and then negative 8 or minus 8. The very last one, 7 times y, 7 times negative 3 is negative 21. Okay, and that's the end of your notes. Again, I know I'm going a little quicker. I don't want these to be a half hour for you, but I know you can pause, rewind if you need to. So your homework, so what you're going to do is you're going to take a picture of these notes and upload them to your assignment. And you're also going to do workbook page 1 as your homework. And you're going to take a picture of that and upload that to your assignment as well. Tomorrow, you'll be able to check your answers at home. Okay? If you have any questions, just shoot me an email. Hope you guys have a good day.